Well, as the Trump administration and Congress cut spending, a member of the Bush family has been pushing for even more cuts on Capitol Hill. For more on this, let's bring in George P. Bush, the former Texas Land Commissioner and chairman of Restore Trust PAC, which is working to elect fiscal conservatives and support Trump-aligned budget reforms. George, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. You were just in town last week to push for this $9 billion package to cut that spending. Part of the original package were cuts to PEPFAR, which is a key accomplishment of the George W. Bush administration. Were you happy that the Senate put that funding back in?
Well, Rich, I said from the beginning that really all levels of spending have to be on the table, whether it's from prior administrations or future obligations that we've made out of the taxpayer's pocket. And so, yes, I was glad to see the overall package passed and then confirmed on the House side this week. But frankly, Rich, our discussions this week in Capitol Hill with over 6 members, including chairs of relevant committees at Ways and Means and also Budget, was thinking more long-term, confronting the issues of Medicare and Social Security, which were largely untouched by the One Big Beautiful Bill, and thinking about the fact that our overall national debt is now in excess of $36.5 trillion, with the One Big Beautiful Bill really not doing much to reduce the amount of annual deficits that the nation continues to take on. So when we think about our children and our grandchildren, where are their lawyers and their lobbyists? They don't have that, and that's the role that we're trying to fill, is to express to these members that we got to think about future generations here.
Yeah, if you look at the cookie jar, it certainly has a lot of IOUs in it when it comes to later generations. Would you say that you were at least encouraged in some of the conversations that you had here in D.C.? I mean, this is in an environment where the Big Beautiful Bill, a lot of budget estimates, including from the CBO, put it at losing $3 trillion or trillions of dollars. When it comes to adding to the national debt, actually. The previous administration certainly added to the national debt. I mean, do you get the sense that anybody in D.C. is really taking this seriously?
Well, Rich, my takeaway was that a lot of folks were so focused on closing a deal rather than thinking holistically and over the long term. And the clock is really running out with respect to this full alignment that Republicans have in the White House, the Senate, and the House to undertake some meaningful reform. So there was a lot of celebrations on the Hill, but frankly, $9 billion is a drop in the proverbial bucket. The real way to codify the DOGE reforms that were attacked by Elon Musk and undertaken during his time in D.C. need to be long-term and need to address entitlements, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, which comprise an overwhelming majority of our spending. When the interest payments on our debt exceed the entirety of our national defense spending, it's really a wake-up call and a warning signal to the capital markets if we want to retain American dominance for our currency and for people to buy our debt.
I mean, do you think that we're just sleepwalking here? You talk about some of these discretionary cuts, $9 billion here, $10 billion here, calls to get at some of the more routine things that government does. But, I mean, the elephant in the room really is Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, right? And you can't solve this without touching that.
Totally. And I did have a great discussion with Jody Arrington and his team at the Budget Committee, and they're in the early stages of compromising a bipartisan commission, almost a special committee, if you will, that will attack this from a bipartisan way to look at those 3 major entitlement programs. But the discretionary spending really is just a marginal discussion. That's been my personal disappointment over the course of the last year since President Trump has been elected, that we haven't really taken on the big challenges. And that's what my PAC is really focused on, is providing that political cover for those candidates that aspire to risk those uncomfortable conversations, both in their home districts and in the halls of power of Washington, D.C., to make those tough decisions. Because the compassionate thing to do is to make those incremental changes right now, waiting until a fiscal crisis, which has been described by people like Ray Dalio, the famous global macro investor that has been warning this signal for decades now that the U.S. is on a dangerous path of spending.
Back there in Texas where you are right now, the president is calling for some redistricting to try to squeeze up to, I think, 5 more congressional seats out of the Texas delegation. Do you think that's a good idea?
I think that this actually in our state has some precedent. If you look at 2003 in the interim when demographers were off based in terms of where political voting was occurring. And so if you look at Texas, we have 38 congressional districts, 25 held by Republicans. And if I were to tell you that every single incumbent of those 25 got elected with over 10% margins, you probably wouldn't believe me, but that's the case. The political experts here in our state were absolutely wrong when drawing the maps. And so people at the Cook Political Report, David Wasserman, among others, have already drafted maps that show that Republicans could comfortably seat another 3 to 5 members, depending on the maps and how you slice it, of course, based upon legal grounds. And so I suspect this will be the top issue for our upcoming special session in the building right behind me that starts on Monday before we get to flood relief, to make sure that we have adequate representation for the increasingly Republican voter here in the state, in particular within Hispanic communities that voted overwhelmingly for President Trump in South Texas.
Yeah, over on the other side of the Capitol, you've got one heck of a primary race between the Attorney General Ken Paxton and the incumbent John Cornyn, Senator John Cornyn. Have you endorsed in that race? Do you plan on issuing an endorsement?
I plan to stay out. One of my charters at Restore Trust has been to just be a loyal Republican and wait until the primary battles subside and focus on the key battleground races federally and also here in the state. But I just want the best candidate to face what will be a very competitive general election, as we saw with Ted Cruz's close race against Beto in 2016, and Colin Allred giving Ted Cruz a run for his money as well this past election cycle. So, our state is comfortably red for right now, but Democrat funding mechanisms have really made their way to our state and challenging us at every layer of our ballot. So I'm just going to wait until the general before I get active with the PAC.
And how about you? Do you plan on running? Do you have a political future again?
Well, I love my private practice. I've enjoyed my time with my family, and I love this political action committee and what we're doing and focusing on the long-term issues of our country and not focusing on 2-year, 4-year increments. And so I'm able to stay active politically here in the great state of Texas and nationally. And who knows, God has a plan for us all, and we'll see what doors open up down the road.
Okay, and just very quickly, you'd mentioned some of the flood recovery and relief ongoing there. What needs to happen next in Texas to really begin to start to recover from that tragedy?
Well, regretfully, Rich, during the regular session, we had a $500 million package that would have created more of an emergency preparedness and mitigation ahead of the storm, and regretfully, we missed that opportunity. I suspect that same bill will be right on the special session docket right after redistricting, and it'll get approved and potentially then some. I've always thought, as the former land commissioner and dealing with natural disasters in the great state of Texas, it makes sense to make those investments up front rather than coming back to the federal taxpayer and asking for inordinate sums of money, such as Hurricane Harvey and other devastating storms we've had in our state history. So I believe state leaders will prioritize this, get it done, work with Congress to get the necessary support to make sure we're ready for the next one.
All right, George P. Bush, the chairman of the Restore Trust PAC. George, thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
Hey, it's Will Cain. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Cain podcast for full episodes right now.